Hi, fourth and fifth graders. We have a special visitor today. Macy is sitting on my lap, enjoying the story and staying warm. I think it's a little cool today. What happened to our nice weather? The next story, and there's three more, including today's, again from Brave Red Smart Frog. The next story is The Three Great Noodles, page 67. This is certainly not a story I know. There was once a farmhouse, and in it lived a vegetable farmer, a dairy farmer, and their daughter. The three of them lived on a small farm near a sunny forest populated by bunnies and bluebirds. They raised turnips and sweet potatoes that fed them through the winter, and beans and potatoes that fed them in the summer. They had a donkey to pull the cart, and 3 cows that gave milk, which the mother turned to cheese and butter. Eventually, the daughter of this family was old enough to think about marriage. Her name was Amity. A young man from town came to court Amity after meeting her when she was selling her mother's cheese at market. His name was Blunt. He had been to school. He had a sharp mind and a kind heart, but something of a quick temper. One day, Blunt and the family sat down to a meal in the farmhouse. They wanted wine, so Amity took a jug and went to fill it from the cask in the cellar. As she turned the tap and let the wine flow, Amity looked up and saw an axe hanging from a hook above her head. She was tender-hearted, and the axe got her thinking. Amity thought, and as she thought, she began to cry. 10 minutes later, her mother came downstairs to find the wine had overflowed the jug. Amity sat weeping on a low bench, her feet soaked. "That axe," sobbed Amity. "It is so desperately sad." "What of it?" "One day Blunt and I might marry. We might have a son, and we might name him Dingleberry." "No, not Dingleberry, Boysenberry," said the mother. "We might name him Dingleberry or Boysenberry," said Amity, "and we would love him more than earth and sky. Dingleberry or Boysenberry might grow big, and soon he would be big enough to fetch wine from the cellar." "Oh, what a big, strong boy." "Yes, and we will be so proud of him. And Dingleberry or Boysenberry might come down here, and that axe, it might fall from its hook and cut the head clean off our big, strong boy." "Oh, he'll never grow up to find true love," moaned the mother. "We'll miss him so," said Amity. See, Macy's worried because I'm sounding like I'm crying. "We'll miss him so," said Amity, and she scooched over on the bench so the two of them could weep together. 10 minutes later, the father came downstairs to find wine still pouring from the tap, soaking their feet and ankles. "That axe," sobbed Amity. "It is so desperately sad." "What of it?" "One day Blunt and I might marry. We might have a son, and we might name him Dingleberry or Boysenberry." "Not Dingleberry or Boysenberry," said the father. "Brick." "We might name him Dingleberry, Boysenberry, or Brick, and we would love him more than earth and sky." And so on Amity went, telling the story, and soon her father, too, was in tears. "He'll never grow up to have children of his own," cried the father. "He'll never grow up to find true love," cried the mother. "We'll miss him so," said Amity. 10 minutes later, Blunt came downstairs to find all three sitting on the low bench weeping. The wine still poured from the tap, and by now had soaked their legs up to the knees. Blunt sloshed through the wine to the nearly empty cask. He turned it off. Then he found a bucket hanging on the wall and went to work tossing wine out the cellar door. When he was done, he dried the floor thoroughly. "What's wrong?" he finally asked. "That axe," sobbed Amity. "It is so desperately sad." What of it? One day you and I might marry. We might have a son, and we might name him Dingleberry, Boysenberry, or Brick. She told the whole story, weeping all the while, and when she had finished, Blunt stepped over to the axe. He took it off the hook and set it safely on the floor. I love you, said Blunt to Amity, but we cannot get married. Why not? You and your parents are three of the greatest noodles I ever saw. Wasting all that wine, ruining your clothes, making a mess of the cellar, and weeping over an axe you can move with no trouble at all. Worrying about a son we haven't got and giving him ridiculous names. I can't live my life among noodles, cried Blunt. But there are noodles everywhere, said Amity. You won't be free of noodles, whatever you do. I will go on a journey, said Blunt, and if on my travels I find three greater noodles than you, then all right, I'll come back and marry into this noodly family. Well then, I'll see you in a week or two, said Amity. I doubt it, said Blunt, but he gave her a kiss before he left. Blunt traveled on horseback. He had only been gone a day when he came across an old woman hobbling along with a sieve held carefully in front of her. Sieve, you know what a sieve is? It's like a colander that you drain pasta in, so kind of a bowl, but with all little holes in it to drain things out. What are you doing? He asked. What does it look like I'm doing? I'm fetching water from the village well. You don't do it like that. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. All the water pours through the holes in the sieve, Blunt explained. Look, you've almost none left. Let me give you a jug. What a know-it-all you are, said the old woman. Look at me. I'm near to 80 years old, and I've been fetching water this way since I was born. Take your jug and be off. Aren't you thirsty? Get on away from me, she said. Smarty know-it-all. So off Blunt went, bidding her good day and good luck. That was one great noodle, and a cranky one, too. That night, Blunt stopped at an inn. It was so full of customers that he had to share a room with another fellow. When he awoke, he found that his roommate, an old gentleman with long whiskers, had hung his trousers on the knobs of the dresser. Blunt watched as the man climbed onto a chair and jumped. Whoomp! He fell to the floor. Are you all right? Blunt helped the old man to his feet. Let me alone to put me trousers on, said the gentleman. Ignoring his bleeding knee, he climbed on the chair again. Whoomp! He fell to the floor again. You don't put your trousers on that way, said Blunt. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Turn the page. Yes, I do. You sit on the chair and put them on one leg at a time, like so. Blunt demonstrated with his own trousers. What a know-it-all you are, said the old gentleman. Look at me. I'm near to 80 years old, and I've been putting me trousers on this way since I was born. But you're bleeding. Humph. And it takes so long. Only about an hour. Now get on away from me, smarty know-it-all. The old gentleman was climbing back on the chair and preparing to jump again when Blunt left the room. So that was the second great noodle, and a mean one, too. Blunt rode all day, and as night fell, he came to a pond just outside a small town where he hoped to spend the night. There was a crowd of men and women around the pond, each holding a rake. What are you doing? Asked Blunt. What does it look like we're doing? One of the men answered. The moon has fallen into the pond, and we're trying to get her out. But it's not in the pond. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. The moon is in the sky like always, explained Blunt. What you see in the pond is only her reflection. What a know-it-all you are, said the man. What makes you think you understand more than all these people? And with that, he ran at Blunt, waving his rake. Get on away from here. he cried. "Smarty know-it-all." Several of the others followed, waving their rakes and yelling. Blunt and his horse ran away as fast as they could. So that was a whole great number of great noodles, and violent ones too. Seeing the moon so full above reminded Blunt of Amity. The two of them used to stroll in the evenings by the light of that same moon. Maybe she was looking at it now and thinking of him. There were indeed so many great noodles in the world, thought Blunt. Those he'd met on this journey were cranky. They were mean and violent. Blunt felt quite lucky suddenly to have found a future wife so tender-hearted as Amity, noodle though she was. He loved her, and so he went home. "You've only been gone 3 days," said Amity, planting a kiss on his cheek. "Did you find 3 great noodles?" "Many more than 3 great noodles," said Blunt. "I told you so," she said. "What a know-it-all you are then," he said. "Shall we get married then?" "We should indeed," she said. And that is what they did, and to be sure, it worked out very well. Till next time.